What's up everybody? We've got the 10th Gen Honda Civic Si behind me, our Project FC3. We're going to install spark plugs right now. We're going to show you what tools you need, we're going to show you what plugs you need, and we're going to show you how to do it. What's up everybody? It's JP from Edge Autosport.com. Thanks for checking us out. I've got a set of NGK spark plugs for the 10th Gen Civic Si. You can find these on our website, both the Si and the non-Si 1.5T versions, so make sure you check out our site if you need some of these for yourself. These are just the stock replacement plugs, so stock heat range. They come gapped to what the stock gap needs to be. We're gonna gap them a little bit differently since we're running more boost and we're tuned and with other parts, and we'll get into that here in a second. But these are just the stock replacement plugs. So we're just gonna show you real quick how to install them, what tools you need, and the quick install of new plugs. It's really not that hard. You wanna do this stuff, especially if you're modded. You know, I would say maybe every 10,000 miles if you're lightly or mildly modded, something like that. But it's a wise idea to just check your spark plugs, check the gap, just check to see if they're in good shape anyway. Maybe every oil change since you're basically right there anyway. So not a huge deal if you don't, but the more modded you are, the more upgraded your engine is, the more power you're putting out, the more important it is to check these things and make sure they're in top shape. So let's get started on our install. I'll start with what tools you need. All right, aside from our spark plugs, we're gonna need a 14mm spark plug socket here. And in case you don't know, these are specifically for spark plugs. They have a little rubber seal in there that grabs the top of the spark plug to take it out of the cylinder head. We've got a 10mm socket to take the coil pack off. We've got a variety of extensions here, a shorter extension, a longer extension to go down into the cylinder head to get the spark plug. We've got a ratchet right here. And then these three tools right here, you can use a combination of anything that you want, but what we have is a spark plug gapper tool. This tightens the gap. Unfortunately, this is a 14mm. I will not be able to use this one on our spark plugs, but something like this is really, really helpful because you stick the spark plug in the bottom side and then you tighten down the top side in order to close the gap a little bit. We're gonna do it the old-fashioned way, but that's a much better tool. This coin style gapper tool I use just to spread open the gap. This is available, this is from O'Reilly's, this is available at any parts store, it's super cheap. And then the feeler gauge is going to be what you use to measure the gap once you're done adjusting, just to confirm that it is the correct gap. So those are the three measuring tools that we typically use. This is a really simple set of tools that's all it takes to get a spark plug job done. All right, so I'm gonna check the gap on the plugs that we took out of the car. It's a good habit to get into when you take the plugs out, just to see where the heck they are as they came out of the car. It could indicate any potential problems if a plug is in bad shape or the gap has become really, really far apart. So I usually just like to know what they came out of the car at. And then I'm gonna gap the new plugs. It's around 30 thousandths, I think these new plugs come in at, but I'm gonna gap these down to about 27 thousandths. We're running a little bit more boost, so we just want the gap to be a little bit tighter to make sure the spark holds on. And so yeah, that's where we're gonna set ours. If you have a completely stock car, you probably wanna do about 29 or 30 thousandths, something like that. So we're just gonna do 27 on ours and go from there. So here's our old spark plug, one of them. I have the feeler gauge here. I have the 28 thousandth slide right here. So I'm gonna just make sure that it's at least 28 thousandths, which it is, it fits right over. You don't wanna rub this too much on the feeler gauge. So now that it fits the 28 thousandth, I'm gonna try to slide a thousandth measurement over there. This is actually 15 ten thousandths. but it's pretty close to 1,000. And this will actually not fit completely over, so you don't want to force it on too much. So the fact that it won't fit on there means it's 28 thousandths. So I measured the other ones. We have 2 that are 28 thousandths and 2 that are 29 thousandths. So on the new ones, we're going to gap them all to 27. It's going to be really close to what we pulled out that Honda gave us. We've never pulled these plugs out, and that'll be really close and probably a good level for the higher boost we're running. Okay, so this is the 30 thousandths slide, and this does fit in the brand new spark plug. Actually, this one is barely letting it through. Almost not really. So it's probably about 29 thousandths or 30 thousandths. What I want to do is close that gap and make it 27 thousandths, like I said before. So let's take the 28 slide, 28 thousandths. This one should move right in there, and it does. So if we want to close it down to 27, that shouldn't fit in there. So let's go ahead and just push it down a little bit, and then we'll keep measuring it until we're at the right spot. So like I said, I'm gonna do this the old-fashioned way. Just gonna take it and put a little bit of pressure onto a hard surface. But ideally, something like this is what you'd rather use. All right, so let's check that again. The 28 does barely fit in there. So we're gonna push it down a little bit more. So the 28 does not fit in like it did before, so let's try the 26. The 26 does fit in there, so we might be right at 27 now. So we'll get this 1,000th here. It just barely does not want to go in, so it's probably sitting right at 26. So we're gonna take this coin gapper right here, we're gonna stretch it just barely, see if we can get it right to 27. So we probably opened it up a little bit too much on that one because the 28 fits back in there. So it's just this fine tuning process of getting it right at the right place. We're gonna keep going until we get it to 27 thousandths. Once we get all 4 to 27, we're gonna put them back in the motor. All right, so we've got the new spark plug. When you go to put it back in the motor, put the spark plug into the socket securely so that's not gonna fall out on you when you go to put it back in the car. And then once you get it down in there, just snug it hand tight, and then just really all you need to do is snug it a little bit with the wrench. It doesn't need to be torqued down super tight. There's a nice crush washer that comes on the plug, so nothing too crazy. Pay attention to how hard it was to take the plug off originally. That's about how you need to tighten it. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, it's time to put the coil packs back in the car, so we're gonna do that now. The coil packs can technically go in any location that you want. I usually like to put them back in where they belong or where they came out of. But one thing for sure is that you need to make sure that all these plugs go to the appropriate cylinder. You cannot mess that up. It's very difficult to mess it up anyway if you tried, but just make sure that these still go to each cylinder that they came off of. So let's go ahead and put those back in right now. Also, make sure that when you tighten the bolts down on these coil packs that you just snug them down. They don't need to be super tight either. So there you go, that's how you install spark plugs. Hopefully that helped you guys out. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you post them below. Make sure you like and subscribe if you feel like it, and we'll see you on the next one.